We have finished the presentation part. We will now switch to the Q&A part. We have already collected some questions, but of course, feel free to drop more so we can use this time to ask our speaker to answer to them. After this part, there will be the conclusion of the session, but as of now, I would like to start with the first question that we have received, that is for Stefan, which is the use of artificial intelligence in the EU will be regulated by the AI Act, the world's first comprehensive AI law. What do you think about it in relation to the COALA findings? I don't know if Stephen can.
Yeah, I understood the question. So thank you. Yeah, indeed, the AI Act is a thing that on the one hand is new because it was put into action recently only. At the same time, the discussions about it go on for a longer time, and they fall into the middle of COALA in principle. So we were aware of what was discussed, and we were monitoring it also. The difficult thing is to give a general answer because the question whether a COALA-based application, so a voice assistant somewhere in manufacturing, is a critical application or not, depends really on the case. But if you assume the cases that we have here about quality management in an organization, then mostly you would not have a critical application of AI here. On the other hand, since we're dealing with voice, so a kind of biometric information, it's difficult because in principle, the one that operates the service can analyze the biometrics from the voice. If you keep it as an IT provider, not telling your clients, for instance, then you could do all kinds of things with it and infringe the privacy of people, and that's a scary thing. So there's really no good answer here how to address it, because the fact that you need to at least process the voice, the audio, it automatically comes with the challenge that it could be misused by reading it as a biometric information and tracking people across not only the COALA application, but whenever you find a snippet of an audio sample from that particular person. So this is a critical thing that we see, but it's not say you cannot get it out at the moment. I don't see how you could get it out of the technology. There are techniques to anonymize it, so anonymize the audio, but at the same time, then you have to process the original information somehow. So there's always some kind of data processing, and you always have to kind of deal with the audio. Apart from that, as I said, the criticality of the application really depends on the case. So there can be situations where your assistant somehow is applied in a safety relevant area, and then you're gliding into this area that your application, your AI application, is probably somewhat critical. So you have to take special precautions here. And then you come to the point of explainability again. You need to be able to explain whatever the AI is predicting, is recommending, is saying, and that creates then some new challenges. There's a question also in the chat, I see.
Yeah, there are multiple questions. So I will start with the first one, and then we will go on from there.
Okay.
So the first question is, and I think it's for you as coordinator, is: are you aiming to convert this initiative into a startup?
Yeah, that's what I tried to present in the one Outlook slide at the very beginning. Indeed, there are two activities now. So the first one is that we want to turn the base infrastructure and additional development tools into the core of a startup company, so that we can offer it as a service to industrial companies in principle. So this is one activity, and the other one is a related activity from another partner in the COALA consortium, and they want to exploit large language models because they have a mix in between the one of the COALA solutions, so the cognitive advisor, which is for the training of workers, and they mixed it with a large language model. First with GPT, and then with local open source version of a language model, so to make it a bit more kind of trustworthy. But yeah, this is a second initiative for a startup. And then there are discussions how to run or keep the pilots running that we have now. So the 3 end users are interested in keeping it running for some time to collect further information about how good it works, and then also improve it, of course, over time. So this also is related to exploitation activities here.
Regarding what you were saying about the use to keep having it in the use case, there is another question that says, why are you planning to further test with SMEs and not corporate organizations?
Yeah, okay, so this maybe goes in the direction of the Wasabi project. So Wasabi is a funded activity of the Commission, and the call itself asked us to dedicate the larger share of the budget for the open calls to SMEs. It's an external request, and we are addressing the request. But at the same time, I think it's a good point also to mention that the majority of manufacturers in Europe are not the corporates. So they are the small ones, medium-sized ones, and they build up the essential basis of manufacturing in Europe. So if you have something that you can offer to them, then it's a much more convincing and lasting and impactful business case than just dealing your cards to the few corporates that you have in Europe. And then you are even competing with the very large IT companies also, like SAP and Software AG and so on. So it's a matter of various things here, I think.
Thank you, Stefan. I think that I would follow up with a question for Enrica that I think it's connected with this one, which is how do you see the application of this technology in the factory in the next years?
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Now I'm saying that the feedback that we got from the user and the supervisor in particular way is very, very positive. So sincerely, we are pretty confident that the technology, the worker assistance, will be one of the key enabler in the digital transformation in the next year, applied not only to operations like the quality control, but also extended to other activities like, for example, maintenance management, like also to support production, workforce management. So everywhere that we have the need to have a data fusion, data coming from different systems, in particular way in complex company like we are, where the information are spread in the organization, not easily retrieved by the person who are looking for something. So having an interface that allow the person to get information, to use the information, to be also supported in the decision making without using hands. So having the possibility to continue in operating, acting in the factory, we think that is something that is has a great potential in industrial application. So we really really expect that in the future years a lot of solution will be offered in the market related to this type of technology application. So really, we are pretty confident related to that, and we are expecting also. We are waiting for the solution because we will be fantastic customer for that.
Well, I will keep you here for the next question. So there is one other question, which is how important is change management support in this type of technology deployment, in your opinion?
Also in this case, this is something that we learned pretty well in COALA project. So the introduction, the sustainable introduction of some technologies, because some technology, Industry 4.0 technology, are more critical than others, needs to have a proper preparation of the organization which has to host this solution introduction. Preparation means fundamentally define in a structured way which are the risks, the potential reaction, map the stakeholder, the business needs, the challenges that have to be addressed by the people, and define in a precise way how to communicate, what to communicate, in which moment, to whom, in order to use all the change management action to really make the person confident in using the technology. What we learn in COALA is that really the person that were using Alexa at home were not absolutely aware about all the risks that the usage of this technology has at home. And so moving this application into a working environment, this creates much more risks. And so this is something that is really pretty important and highlighted for us, for a company like Whirlpool, that in order to properly protect the workers during the digital transformation, a special effort and attention has to be paid on this topic. Otherwise, really the risk is to create frictions that from a certain moment make the people unhappy. And on the second side, don't allow the company to get really the best out of the solution introduction, because at the end, the adoption is never fully reached. And so this is something that is pretty important, and COALA proved it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I have two more questions. Of course, if there are more questions, I will check them. But this one, I think it's for Stefan, but I think it's more for the exploitation leader. But perhaps we can try it. To which extent have you done market research to assess whether other universities and startups are trying to deploy the same solution?
Yeah, I can answer that one. First, we try to monitor who is building and working on this topic since the beginning of the project, really. So I'm aware that there's a professor at the University of Santa Clara in Brazil, and they are working with assistants, chatbots in particular, for a longer time. So they are also among the leaders, I would say, from academia working in this field in the applied sense. So they are trying it out with actual people. Then you have other more research-oriented activities where the goal is not so much to build a complete assistant where you can have a long conversation, but then they focus on having very high reliability in terms of the voice interface, so that you can transcribe voice even when there's extreme noise or very hard to filter out noise in the environment. So I think Fraunhofer has a recent project there working in this field. So I would still count it as a kind of competing solution, if you want. So, but at the same time, it has a different scope and a different purpose and application orientedness. So, and then there are also commercial companies now. So I saw that that André Joly is here from Speaks Industry. So they are building an assistant as well with a specific focus. There are smaller startups that build solutions that include a transcription service. It's not necessarily always a full conversation interface in the sense that you can have a longer conversation, but you can give commands via voice. So this is another thing. And then you have the various free riders right now that say that they have an idea how to use GPT to solve a problem. And there are a lot of these activities right now because the technology is so easy to use. You can do some prompting, and then you have a machine that answers you in a very fancy and surprisingly well-working fashion. Nevertheless, in these cases, you have the problem with the hallucinations, so the fake answers or fake facts that these systems create. And in the manufacturing domain, we cannot have these answers. So that's a kind of thing that we discussed for a long time and at several occasions in our ethics board. And it's one of the key challenges of the second startup that I mentioned, so the ones that want to work with an LLM. So they have to solve this problem somehow, if it's solvable at all. So yeah, we are monitoring it. We have a list of the companies and activities, and it's getting longer.
Okay, thanks. So I have one last question. Of course, if there are questions that I haven't seen, please raise your hands and one of my colleagues will allow your microphone. But I think that as Stefan mentioned, ChatGPT, I think a given question is what ChatGPT can do for the manufacturing and industrial space in your opinion, also in relationship with the work done in COALA.
The question's dedicated to me, or?
Yeah.
I think I can answer that. Yeah, we checked this topic, to be precise, Mina checked this topic in research article to see how LLMs can, or tools like ChatGPT can help us with our approach, with our work. And there's a variety of things where we can use it without completely relying on it. So Mina is here. Okay, she can directly answer. Sorry, I thought you're not there.
No worries. Thanks. I recently wrote a paper and it was published this week. How we can use LLMs to enhance pipeline-based conversational agents. As you know, we are using ROSA in COALA, and ROSA is a pipeline-based agent. This means there are a lot of handcrafted parts, and the training data, the model is somehow limited. However, we can enhance this pipeline by using LLMs, for instance, during the design of the assistant, also when it's deployed and it's running. One good example is with localization. So you can use, as I mentioned, we have COALA in 2 languages, and we needed continuous support from Whirlpool, from native speakers to improve the quality of translations. And LLMs enable us as conversational agent designers to fasten this process and generate translations with very high quality. We ran a test on some languages like Swiss German, and one of the authors who is a native speaker said that the quality of translations was pretty amazing. This is one aspect, and during deployment, we have the problem when you have a small model for the agent. due to limited training data. We have the problem that the agent fails to answer some of the questions or gets confused, so the intent recognition has a rather low confidence. And in these cases, we can use a help of LLM in mapping user sentence to one of existing intents of the bot. And in case if it's the agent is a domain specific agent and the user is asking a more general question, again, LLMs are able to answer these questions. But there are risks associated with this approach, and I think it really depends on the business owners and how much risk they are willing to accept, and what are the boundaries here, under which circumstances are they willing to accept the benefits of LLMs to improve the performance of their already deployed agents. And this is something that we are going to investigate in our future work.
Thank you, Mina. I think that I'm checking the chat, but I think this one was the last question. So we can move on and start wrapping this webinar.
There is one, sorry to interrupt,
yeah,
there is one question from Barnabas in the question and answer session.
Yes, can you read it, please?
Yes, Barnabas asked, do you save the questions in audio and the text for learning purpose? So perhaps Stefan or Mina could answer this part.
Yeah, there is, so when users have conversation with an agent, these conversations are saved in the tracker, and one approach is called continuous dialogue-driven design, which means the designers keep investigating these conversations and add sentences from these conversations to the training data, so that next time the agent can process these questions. This is for learning of the agent and not other learning purposes. I don't know what exactly you mean by learning material, if you mean something like learning nuggets that we have for training the operators. Of course, this is out of scope of COALA, but this is a very good practice to see, investigate the conversation history, investigate the sentences and the requests, and then build supportive scenarios and learning material for those. I don't know, Stefan, if you want to add something.
Yeah, one thing I want to add about the audio file or the audio part. So we don't store audio. The audio has to be processed on the fly, if you want so, because we need to translate the audio into a text. And you might have seen that this can go wrong also from time to time. So the quality is not 100%. There can be like misunderstandings in this process. But the audio file we don't store. It exists for a short moment until we have the transcript, and then it's thrown away. It's not recoverable. I don't know how. So it's sometimes you use also external services. So we use a Google transcription here because this is the best quality right now that we could find, and they also don't store it long term. So they, in the terms of the Google service, in this case, you can find a passage that says they don't store it for any purpose other than immediately transcribing the audio. Then they throw the file away. So.
Thank you. So unless Inda sees other question in the Q&A box that I at the moment I cannot see, I will slowly move on to the closing remarks for this session. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for participating to this webinar. As I mentioned at the beginning, the recording will be available online in the next few days. So if you need to rewatch it or if you have any doubts, you can check it there. And also there are the previous session and the previous webinar that we have organized as a consortium, so you can see them as well. There is also on our website, I will share the link in the next slide, the possibility to join the COALA community. As well as giving us a feedback, there is a survey about the usability and the potential impact of the COALA results and COALA Digital Assistant. You can well, the link is on our website, but it's also, you can scan the QR code on the left and give us a feedback through that. It's a useful way for us to have a reality check about our work. Another interesting tool is our online demo tool, which is a demonstrator that showcases three functionalities, three applications of the digital assistant. It has a dedicated landing page that is public and it can be usable by anyone. It's connected to the COALA website, and it's a good way to understand our work if you couldn't attend any of the demonstration events that we had organized throughout the project. And although the project is reaching to its end in a couple of weeks, we still have one newsletter coming out with some final remarks and final results. And our website will still be online and fed. So we will not disappear. We will keep collaborating and cooperating and work to exploit COALA results and COALA works. So some useful links can be found in the next slide. So you can reach out to us through the address that you can see, which is info@coala-h2020.eu. And then you can follow us both on LinkedIn and Twitter, which is they are kept very up to date. So they are useful media for reaching out to us. And as I mentioned, there is the online demo tool for testing the assistant online and to see how it works. And also there is the QR code for our website to be sure to check the website through that. And for many more videos and recordings, there is also the link for that. So on my behalf and on behalf of the speaker, I would like to thank you all for participating. I would like to thank the speaker for being so precise with time and sharing very interesting presentation. I would like to thank Inda for coordinating the organization of this session as usual. And I would like to say you goodbye, and we will be in touch through all of our channels, and I would like to close this session. Have a good afternoon, everybody.